We back at it again. This will be the last video of the night. I'm hitting all the district attorneys, and this is the mm, AG, Attorney General of New York City. She officially under investigation. They has assigned a special prosecutor for her mortgage fraud and other allegations that are coming out. That Ed Martin guy, he officially went out to her residence to check it out in Brooklyn. So it's going down. It's going down. She built her career on prosecuting Trump on trumped up charges. Is this karma? Is it karma? But let's get into it. And after this, I am going to bed. Okay. Let me see. Write this down. Trump ally who could be AG warns New York's Letitia. And it's Letitia. They've been calling her Letitia. It's Letitia James to back off President elect. We will put your fat ass in prison. That's what Trump's attorney told the press. A fierce ally, President elect Donald Trump warned that the new administration will have no patience for New York Attorney General Letitia James if she weaponized the legal system against the 47th president. Mike Davis, the founder of Article 3 Project, an advocacy group that pushes for nominations of conservative judges, said during an appearance on the Benny Show podcast. I love the Benny Show. I love Benny Johnson. Listen here, sweetheart, Davis continued, addressing James. We're not messing around this time, and we will put your fat ass in prison for conspiracy against rights. I promise you that. That's Benny Johnson and Trump's attorney. I love his podcast. I think he got like 4 or 5 million followers. Davis, who has been floated as a possible Trump pick for Attorney General or White House counsel in this incoming administration, urged the New York Attorney General to think long and hard before potentially violating the president-elect's constitutional rights or any other American's constitutional rights. It's not going to happen again, he declared. Hmm. So Kamala Harris in the presidential elections, James 66 threatened to use the rule of law to fight back against the future administration, noting that her office has been preparing for several months to counter Trump's ascendance. James won a 454 million civil fraud judgment against Trump 78 that's going to be overturned, which was partially overturned by the Supreme Court earlier this year after accusing the real estate magnate of inflating his net worth of billions of dollars to get better loan on insurance terms. And he paid that loan back. There was no victim. It was a private loan between him and Deutsche Bank, and they said they would do it again. Trump has appealed the ruling. The department's not going to have any patience for this Democrat lawfare over the next 4 years, Davis said in an interview with Newsmax. The former chief counsel for nominations to Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grace argued that James could be in violation of 18 U.S.C. Code 241 conspiracy against rights if she continues to go after her political enemies. In response to the Wall Street Journal report linking Davis to the White House counsel role under Trump, the lawyer suggested that his ambitions lie elsewhere. No, thank you. I want to serve as the viceroy, he wrote on X. I don't know how I got on this. Wait a minute. Oh, that's Judge Marshawn. Okay, hold on, y'all. All right. I don't know how I did that. Okay, let's go up here. My son know he keep that TV loud. Danye, close your door. Trump stripping the security clearances of New York AG Letitia, and it's Letitia James and Alvin Bragg. President Trump has ordered security clearance stripped away from a new list of antagonists, just days after revoking Joe Biden's access to classified information and secure federal buildings because I don't trust him. The infamous Russia, now called Russiagate hoax. He got rid of Anthony Blinken's security clearance. I'm not going to read this because I already did, but I'm getting rid of it. New York Attorney Letitia James and Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg joined a new group of 8 Democrats Bowles Trump plans to punish by revoking any access to classified information and banning them from federal facilities. He has called the group the Dirty 51. He also removed security clearance for Jack Sullivan, Hillary Clinton, Lisa Monaco. Next is line is anti-Trumpers Andrew Wiseman, the lead prosecutor and the special counsel for Robert Mueller's Russiagate investigation of Trump. I ain't gotta read that. Okay, I ain't got to read that. Okay, we done with that. Let me get here. Hold up. Hold up. Wait a minute. Okay. White collar found exposing a decade of Letitia James financial misreporting, uncovering financial discrepancies in Letitia James property holdings. When New York Attorney General Letitia James secured a $355 million judgment against Donald Trump for allegedly misleading financial statements, she declared it a victory for transparency and accountability. However, recent investigation into her own financial discrepancies revealed a troubling pattern of transparency issues spanning more than 30 years. From property valuations and unreported rental income, these discrepancies raise serious questions about the state's top legal officers' own adherence to the standards she enforces. This article dwells into the historical context and uncovers the financial misreporting of Letitia James. Follow the paper trail. James Norfolk, Virginia investment property, you encounter a contradiction. Official property records tell one story. In August 2020, she purchased the home for $137,000. She financed it with a $109,900 mortgage from OBM Financial. The mortgage documentation classified it as a second home with a specific second home rider containing legal attestations about occupancy. Her sworn financial disclosures tell another story. From day one, she listed the property as an investment generating rental income, but the mortgage that made the purchase possible, it vanished completely, never appearing on a single financial disclosure despite clear legal requirements to report all mortgages on investment properties. Wow. By law, officials must disclose all mortgages and incumbents on reportable real estate under Section 73A of the New York Public Officers Law. Elected officials must file sworn annual statements disclosing all real estate holdings, all sources of income exceeding 1,000, and all debts exceeding 10,000. These aren't optional formalities, but legal statements signed under penalty of perjury. False statements can constitute a Class A misdemeanor under New York law, punishable up to a year in jail. The mystery deepens in her 2023 disclosure. While the property's value remains unchanged at 100,000 to 150,000, two entirely new mortgages materialize. Freedom Mortgage 150,000 to 250,000 and National Mortgage 100,000 to 150,000. These loans could total up to 400,000, potentially four times the property's lowest declared value. Combined with the undisclosed, undocumented OBM loan of 109,000, the total debt is $509,000 against a property that has no more value of 150,000. Yet our commission title search found no trace of either mortgage in any public records. Wow, are you in trouble? The property that once generated 1,000 to 5,000 in total rental income during 2020 now reportedly generates zero. Her family does live there. Remember all them reporters was going there? Despite supposing carrying up to $5,009 in debt. As a 2025 Norfolk tax assessors valued the property at $187,300, exceeding the industry standard of 70 to 80% maximum for investment properties. This type of loan to value ratio would be virtually impossible to obtain through legitimate lending channels. If this were an isolated event, one might attribute to a clerical error, but our investigation uncovered a similar situation from James' past. In May 2013, Crane's New York business revealed that then Councilman James had failed to disclose rental income from her Brooklyn brownstone despite collecting tens of thousands of dollars every year from tenants. The four-story Lafayette Avenue property purchased in 2001 for $550,000 has housed multiple tenants for years. Reports between 2007 and 2011 made no mention of this rental income, despite city laws requiring elected officials to report such income. When, when confronted, her spokesperson claimed she was previously unclear about whether owner occupied rental property was subject to council disclosure. You lying. You lying. You a lawyer. You know. After the Cranes report, James hurriedly filed an amended disclosure, but even this correction understated her actual rental income of $44,400, reporting it instead into $5,400 through $999 range. The same year, another Cranes investigation discovered James had underreported her campaign spending. Ooh, oh, bitch, you in trouble by 50,000 during a 2-month filing period. One neutral observer of the race suggests that Miss James' campaign might have left off a number of expenditures from her original filing in order to minimize the public view of her already high campaign burn rate was. February 8th investigation uncovered yet more irregularities with the same Brooklyn property. The property's value surged by 42% between 2021 and 2022, jumping from 2.25 million to 2.5 million, I'm sorry, to 3.25 million. During the exact same time period, 2022 disclosure revealed a complex well of financing on the Brooklyn property, with three separate mortgages totaling $725,000 and $1.1 million. A Wells Fargo mortgage originating 2019 for $500,000 to $750,000. A $70,000 to $100,000 loan from First Savings Bank appeared in 2021. A new $150,259 mortgage from Citizen Bank was added. Oh, that's how she getting her money. As James pursues others for financial misrepresentation, her own disclosure history raises troubling questions. Why is the only mortgage that appears in the Virginia properties records completely absent from all of her financial disclosures? Where did the two mortgages reported in her 2023, where did they come from? And why don't they appear in any property records? Because it's all public information. How could a property generating no income secure mortgages of to 509,000? Why did she sign a document legally attesting that Virginia's property would be a second home while simultaneously reporting it as a rental investment? Ooh. How could someone with legal training repeatedly fail to accurately report basic financial income across multiple properties and multiple years? Facts. In the Trump case, James argued accurate financial disclosures from the bedrock of public trust. She told reporters, "No one is above the law, and we will continue to hold accountable those who violate the law." For ordinary citizens, misrepresentations on financial forms can trigger investigations, penalties, and prosecution. Mortgage fraud often involves exactly the same patterns we're seeing: misrepresenting a property's use or misstating income and debt. How could someone with legal training repeatedly fail to accurately report basic financial information? Facts. Income from her Norfolk property in recent disclosures is between 1,000 and 5,000. Given her history of failing to disclose rental income from her Brooklyn property for years until media scrutiny, is this another case of unreported income? How could someone with legal training? Okay, we did that already. For more than a decade, Jane's disclosure patterns suggest one standard for others and a different one for herself. The state's chief legal officer once declared disclosure laws enable New Yorkers to trust that their elected officials are serving the public and not themselves. Now she faces questions about whether her own disclosure meet the merit. She has not responded to any allegations. Okay, let me see, is that all I got for her? Okay, let me go to April 2nd. Just give me a minute. Oh, this was when young Scooter died. Oh, they got little baby on wiretaps. I gotta get off into that. Okay. New York Attorney General Letitia James has a long history of fighting Trump and other powerful targets. Letitia James fixated on Donald Trump as she campaigned for New York Attorney General, branding the then president a con man, a carnival barker, and pledging to shine a bright light into every dark corner of his real estate dealings. 5 years later, James is on the verge of disrupting Trump's real estate empire after a judge ruled Tuesday that he defrauded banks, that he paid back. He paid back the loan, insurance, and others by exaggerating the value of assets on paperwork and used deals to secure loans. That he paid back. There was no victim. The ruling shifts control of some of Trump's companies to a court appointed receiver, meaning he could lose control of prized properties like Trump Tower, a sprawling suburban estate, office buildings, and more. James began investigating Trump just about as soon as she took office in 2019. She launched several lawsuits against the Republican administration over his immigration and environmental policies when he was in the White House. James inherited an ongoing state lawsuit against Trump's charitable foundations filed before she took office and steered it to a settlement that included a $2 million fine. She said it's the art of the steal, and she been stealing, making fun of his book, The Art of the Deal. A judge in New York sided with James, ruling Trump and his company committed fraud and ordering some of his business licenses to be rescinded as punishment. The ruling it stands after an expected appeal could make it impossible for Trump to do business in New York and would strip him of the ability to make strategic and financial decisions over some of his properties. His attorneys call it a political witch hunt. In 2021, James oversaw an investigation of New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who had been accused of multiple sexual harassment. Yeah, he can't stand her either. I wonder, should I? You know what? I think I am gonna keep this when I do Andrew Cuomo. hmm Oh, then she did a lawsuit against the NRA in 2020. She sought to have the NRA dissolved, and that's a powerful group. It didn't happen. A judge rejected the idea but allowed the lawsuit to continue. James won a 2018 election for Attorney General in New York, becoming the first black woman elected to statewide office, the state's first black attorney general, and the first woman elected to the post. Prior to that, James was a New York City public advocate, a role intended to help people navigate and resolve issues with government services, and serves as a watchdog over City Hall. The job made James a familiar fixture in the city, often appearing at crime scenes, news conferences, and other events. She worked as a public defender and as assistant state attorney general. She graduated from Lehman College in the Bronx and earned her law degree from Howard University in Washington. What's this? Oh, that's still young scooter. I just want to make sure we ain't got no more to her. Okay, we done with that. We got one more. Then, oh, y'all, and then I'm gonna get into. Let me see. Hold on, I'm looking for this last article. Wait, is this it? Let me write that down. August. Oh, April, May. I'm looking for this last article. Hmm. Give me a few. I'm looking for this article. The last one. I'm sorry. Well, I sure don't see it. Oh, I'm on the wrong damn date. Shit. That's because I'm getting sleepy. Okay, here we go. Letitia James listed her Virginia house as her residence, as her primary residence, but neighbors say they've never seen her as New York AG faces mortgage fraud probe. Reporters and everybody went to that house. New York attorney Letitia James listed a Virginia home more than 300 miles away from her office in New York City as her principal residence in official public documents obtained by the Post, but neighbors said Wednesday they'd never seen her. She secured that property for $219,000. In the document, James attested, "I hereby declare I intend to occupy this property as my principal residence to gain a more favorable loan." The modest three-bedroom, two-bathroom house is now home to a woman and her daughter who moved in just a few months ago, according to people in the neighborhood. Before that, a husband and wife lived in the $240,000 house for about 4 years, she said. No one neighbor has ever lived there for 18 years. And this the house in Virginia. You don't even look like you should be worth 200 or some thousand dollars. I've only met the new resident like maybe 2 or 3 times. She seemed really nice. The last time I saw her was like maybe a week or so ago, and she was just outside smoking a cigarette. We were talking about grandkids. The 1,400 square foot home is the center of a federal criminal referral for mortgage fraud. The referral also accused James, whose salary is $220,000, misrepresenting the number of apartments for a building she owns in Brooklyn, saying it has 4 units for favorable loans when it actually has five. I mean, for better insurance rates. It appears Miss Jane's property and mortgage related misreputations may have continued to her recent 2023 Norfolk, Virginia property purchase in order to secure a lower interest rate and more favorable loan terms. On Wednesday, Jane's office said she bought the Norfolk property with her niece. Her niece lives in the property as primary residence, and the agent has been clear she is not using the Virginia home as her primary residence because she lives in New York City. All right, we done with that. Oh, this is gonna be my last video. Okay, let me get this off my phone. Oh, let's get to this video. How much time we got? Oh, about a half an hour. Might as well stick it on out.
Well, Letitia James, she's in more trouble than she could have ever possibly have known she'd be in part because of, well, a new development that the president actually tweeted out. Apparently, she's guilty of doing the exact same thing that she accused him of doing.
Facts.
Of course, we don't really think that what he did was in any way, shape, or form a crime, but, so long as we're settling scores here, we're going to talk all about Letitia James. Plus, Donald Trump's got a new approval rating out, and I got to tell you guys, this must just kill CBS News to have to report this. It's their poll. And hey, how do you like this for sweet justice, if you would? They're reporting that his approval rating is through the roof. We're going to get into the actual numbers. And on top of that, he's coming back, doubling the lawsuit. Again, 60 minutes. He's doubling it. He's totally going to put him out of business. Like, bye, CBS, if this thing all comes to being. We're going to talk a little bit about the Super Bowl. Taylor Swift got booed. Boy, Donald Trump really, really, really like that.
This is Tish Regan. I like her.
Doge is going after FEMA. Yeah, FEMA. Because apparently they're sending billions of dollars to big hotels in New York City while not really bothering with the poor people that have been left destitute because of the storms down in North Carolina. All
Facts.
Important information to get to today. Welcome to the program. Make sure that you subscribe, share, like, all that good stuff. We are independent, proudly, fiercely independent here on the Trish Regan Show, and I appreciate your support. So make sure you subscribe, hit the bell so you know when I'm here. Letitia James is in a whole lot of trouble, more than you could have ever imagined. I know. This is a woman who campaigned on one thing and one thing only.
He's called me venomous. We will fight back to your attempt to bring Trumpism to New York City. He's called me disgraceful.
You are.
Okay, I'm not going to torture you. I know. You know how
I get sick of that bitch.
Remind you. A little sampling there. Well, anyway, it's just come out now that apparently she might have done something rather fraudulent with her own real estate holdings. This is Roger Stone who sent this out. Now, it's Roger Stone who likes to disturb a bit, shall we say. What do you call him? You know what's disturbing? Anyway, Donald Trump sending it out, retweeting this. A careful examination of New York Attorney General Letitia James' financial disclosures, Roger writes, shows she inflated the value of her assets in order to get mortgages on various commercial properties.
She did.
Exactly what she accused President Trump
her
of
ass
doing.
out
Falsely
too.
accused, he adds, President Trump of doing. So, whoa, wait a second. Remember how this all went down? Donald Trump went to Deutsche Bank, said, hey, I want a loan. Deutsche Bank said, sure, what do you get as collateral? He said, I got these commercial properties, including one Mar-a-Lago, and it's valued at whatever you valued at. Letitia James then goes back after the fact and says, well, no. I don't think Mar-a-Lago was actually worth what you think it's worth. I think it's only worth $18 million.
Facts.
Despite the fact that it makes $57 a year. Anyway, she's coming in as the Attorney General of the state of New York saying, no, I don't think you can do this deal with Deutsche Bank because I think you inflated the value of Mar-a-Lago. Of course, values in the eye of the beholder, shall we say. I mean, I'd buy it for $18 million. We can get a few people together, do a deal, and buy that puppy for $18 million. I mean, it's bonkers. The whole thing is bonkers. And then he winds up with a $500 million, nearly $500 million fine. It is absolutely the most insane thing I've ever seen. And to me, this is the most egregious one. You know that, and maybe it's because I've been a business reporter my entire career, but I really, and I'm a capitalist.
And she done did the same
American
shit.
Capitalists are hard. I don't like the idea of Letitia James coming in between me and my bank. But, don't forget, this is the woman that wanted to seize his assets. She was trying to seize his assets if he couldn't come up with the $500 million. She's like, why doesn't he have it? Like anybody has that laying around. Chump change. Yeah, let me go up to the bedroom and get it. It's under my mattress. I don't think so, Letitia. Not even Elon, wealthiest guy in the world, has that. Here she is saying she's going to go after every asset.
4 days after a judge ordered Donald Trump to pay $355 million for a decade of fraud, New York Attorney General Letitia James says she's prepared to do everything she can to make sure the former president pays his fine, including, she told us, seizing the buildings that bear his name.
If he does not have funds to pay off the judgment, then we will seek, judgment enforcement mechanisms in court, and we will ask the judge to seize his assets.
You see, that's what she wanted to do. That's what she wanted to do all along, Spiritful. Thank you so much for your generosity. I'll get to your comment in just a second. But that's the problem here, okay? You get these uber political people that are trying to go after Donald Trump that have no business going after him for legal transactions. And now, what do you know? It turns out she might have done something quite similar. Indeed, quite similar. Leave it to Roger to uncover this. So she's kind of, in a bit of a pickle here. She's trying to act all victorious because, Doge, they've been moving full force ahead with USAID. They're closing down buildings. I'm going to show you some of this video because it's really, really remarkable. It's just great. You got Maxine Waters outside the Department of Education screaming at the security
that's going to be
guard.
enough of that video because she goes on and on and on. But she could be in a mortgage for all herself. He didn't have a victim. He paid off his loan. She didn't. Let me see. What is this? Nope, that's not it.
A chief judge from New York explaining exactly how Alvin Bragg and Letitia James
I have very little doubt that this matter will be reversed based upon
it will be
caught up in Trump prosecutions, Trump's surveillance. This is the perfect video to send them. This video breaks down exactly how they violated due process and exactly why you can expect election interference charges coming. So this is Kelly Armstrong, who literally just a couple of days ago won his gubernatorial race for North Dakota, interviewing New York Justice Rowan Wilson, going over all of the details of how due process was violated during this New York hush money trial.
It was.
To make this longer than it needs to be, y'all. They go over everything in this interview. Let's jump in.
Yes. This committee. Thank you for bringing it up. Gentleman from North Dakota is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I very much appreciate the questioning from my friend from Texas. She's one of the few other people that has actually practiced criminal defense and public defense. And As somebody who's done that for a very long time, I appreciate that very much. I never did practice in New York. I also haven't practiced in federal court, and I've practiced in state court and passed several bar exams as well. Judge Wilson, what's the statute of limitations on a misdemeanor in New York?
1 year.
Wow.
What is
It
the
was
business
past the
records case
statute
is
of
a
lim-
misdemeanor, correct?
Wow.
The underlying crime, the falsifying business records, yes, that's a misdemeanor charge.
So the only way to get to a felony is by committing it, or is by in concealment of another crime.
Correct.
And each one of those crimes has
It was a
specific
misdemeanor.
elements.
That's right.
And you have to prove, in order to get a conviction at trial, you have to prove every element of the crime beyond a reasonable doubt, right? That's just traditionally how this works.
That is the right way to do it.
So in the indictment, did they put the underlying crime?
No, they did not. They only described it as other crime.
Is anyone
Right.
stopping to think
Facts.
how he's falsifying business records to cover up a felony that he's never been charged with? He has never been charged with the underlying felony that
Facts.
his business records are supposedly trying to conceal. One much discussed question, for example, is that
That's why it was
Attorney
overturned.
Bragg charged Trump with a felony records violation, but he did not specify until his closing argument what other crimes the records violations were designed to conceal. Moreover, Judge Merchan's jury instructions told the jury that they did not need to agree on that question, but instead that they only had to agree on the violations that were designed to conceal a crime.
Okay, and in the jury instructions, did they put the specific underlying crime?
No, the falsifying business records was described in the jury instructions. There was some brief description of the New York State election law violation, but there was no description given of the choice of three crimes. There was a description given of falsifying business records, which was pretty ironic because it was falsifying business records to falsify business records.
So, and that's also a misdemeanor, right?
That should be, yeah.
So you have 2 + 2 = 6. Like if you commit 2 misdemeanors, you get to the felony statute of limitations, which they had to get or they could have never brought the case.
That's correct. But there's some more question marks regarding the statute of limitations. It's not cut and dry because the time that Donald Trump spent out of New York could be used to toll the statute of limitations. That was the ruling in the Court of Appeals Harvey Weinstein case. He argued that the time that he spent out of California should not have told it, out of New York, that is, in California, should not have told the time limitations, but the Court of Appeals ruled against him on that issue. So that's, I think, how they get around the statute of limitations problem in this case.
So was the election law case a federal election law or state election law underlying crime?
It seemed like it was charged as both. When we got to the jury instructions, there's a violation of New York election law charged, but then there's one among the 3 charges underlying is an unspecified violation of federal election law.
And then the third one was tax violation, right?
Also unspecified.
So all 3 of those underlying crimes have significantly different elements of the crime.
That is
Facts.
correct.
Were any of the elements of those crimes listed?
No, not at all.
So, this is important, and it might not be as robust or
And that's why it was overturned. I think I got that under Judge Merchan too.
This blew my mind when I saw it this morning. Believe it or not, things are getting so much worse for Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, Jack Smith, Matthew Graves, Fannie Willis. I've been making the predictions and I've been seeing in the comments where are the arrests? When are the investigations going to start? And I don't blame you guys, but they just started. Today. Well, I guess technically yesterday when the Senate confirmed Pam Bondi to lead the Justice Department. Dude, she hit the ground running on the agenda, just like Donald Trump did, making all kinds of moves.
Pam Bondi was sworn in as Attorney General Wednesday. During her confirmation, the first that President Trump attended in his second term, she promised to, quote, make him proud. And she wasted no time getting started on his agenda. CBS News has confirmed that Bondi will issue several directives to the Justice Department to, quote, combat weaponization of the legal system, end quote. Those include ending the moratorium on federal executions, halting federal funding for sanctuary cities, and terminating DEI programs at the Department, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. She will also start a group to review Biden administration law enforcement policies. This was first reported by Fox News.
It's interesting having all these different agencies move on the agenda in ways I did not expect. I would have never expected the DOJ to be involved with the dismantling of funding for sanctuary cities, but I guess
they damn sure did, as they should.
To battle in court as these judges are filing
Fuck them
injunctions
illegals.
left and right. I mean, they're really fighting against an entrenched bureaucracy, so it makes sense that there needs to be institutional support in multiple different facets.
CBS News Department of Justice reporter Jake Rosen joins me now. Jake, how will these major directives impact the department and its operations?
Well, a lot of these executive orders and memos that Trump has signed and now Pam Bondi is putting into place really kind of fit the bill of what we've seen from Donald Trump, ending DEI in the Department of Justice, really going after immigration and making immigration the focus of the Department of Justice, and encouraging law enforcement and its partners in the FBI and across the DOJ to really join in federal partners to do that. However, when you go back to what you just read, there's a lot of emphasis now on kind of focusing on the Trump investigations that we saw and covered over the last 4 years. And some of that is investigating and reworking part of the Trump investigations in DC in terms of Trump's actions after January 6th. There was a classified document case in addition to the 2 New York cases. But
it's really interesting when you're hearing about this from the left, because they don't perceive all of this stuff as connected. You and I mean, at least most of the people I talk to that are in our sphere of things understand that this is a connected system of attempting to dismantle our country. It's a Cloward and Piven problem reaction solution method of attempting to overburden.
Facts. And I did a video about 6 months ago about the Cloven Piven strategy that was used in the 60s against us black folks. Y'all need to go back and look at that video. I was mind blown when I found out that information. Okay, I'm gonna delete this one. Excuse me.
Things are moving so much faster than I ever expected. And if I was one of these lawyers that's been engaging in lawfare over the past 4 to 8 years, I'd really be wondering by now if I should start packing my bags and looking for a flight out of here.
Facts.
Especially after what the Trump administration just dropped yesterday. And y'all know from my last Fannie Willis video, she's not getting spared the ruler of justice either. Y'all pair what the Trump administration just did with Pam Bondi's DOJ announcing investigations into Bragg, Letitia James, Jack Smith, the Gambit. Dude, this is getting serious. The best part is these might not even be the most interesting names on this list.
This is Cuomo. I like him.
Because while the walls are closing in on these corrupt prosecutors, Democrats like John Fetterman are getting their 15 minutes of fame.
Why is the Democratic Party viewed as toxic by so many? Even people inside the party acknowledge that.
I think their primary currency was shaming and scolding and talking down to people and telling them, hey, I know better than you.
Facts.
You're dopes, or you're a bro, or you're ignorant, or, don't you, how can you be this dumb? I can't imagine
Facts.
it. And then, by the way, they're fascist. How can you vote for that? And when you're in a state like Pennsylvania, I know and I love people that voted for Trump, and they're not fascist.
It's almost like trying to claim that anyone who disagrees with you is fascist is in of itself fascist. I know, mind-blowing, right? It's really hard to fight the algorithm and get the truth out there as a small channel. If you guys can hit the like and subscribe button, it's a free little way just to help me out. I appreciate it, guys. Well, whether they accept it or not, the universe is getting ready to teach them, because not only is Letitia James and Alvin Bragg under federal investigation from the DOJ. Not only is Fannie Willis under both federal and state investigation in Congress. On Saturday, President Trump stripped the security clearances of at least 8 corrupt antagonists who worked for Biden and targeted President
He did,
Trump
and we talked about that. Fannie Willis is on that one. All right, here we go.
Letitia James, the God King. It's like she thinks she's invincible or something. It's the same story over and over again, but these corrupt political figures never seem to learn. So I've noticed a common theme among these corporate henchmen that have been engaging in lawfare over the past 4 years. Tell me if you notice the same thing, guys. They all seem completely convinced before the election that Donald Trump was going to lose and Kamala Harris was going to win in a landslide.
You know, what do you make of the way that Republicans have followed Donald Trump's lead and just the tone of their attacks, not just on you, but also on the vice president?
They're running very scared. That's what I think. They're running very scared, and they have nothing else other than racism and sexism. And so when you have nothing else, unfortunately.
Now, if she would have won, do you think Putin would have called Kamala for a meeting? Hell fuck no. She was weak. Biden was weak. He admitted today that he would not have went into Ukraine if Trump had been president. He got up there and confirmed what Trump had been saying. He wouldn't have did it, but they were so damn weak. Ain't no way. She wasn't a leader. They were not leaders. Trump is a leader. It's a difference.
You just appeal to the racists among us, the white nationalists among us. That's all. The reality is that Kamala Harris, Vice President Harris, is qualified.
She was dumber than a bag of rocks. I got more sense than she do. She dumb.
She's, underestimated, but she's an overachiever. And that's why I have wholeheartedly endorsed her.
Indeed. And DEI is actually a good thing.
Wow. The journalistic integrity. Didn't Joy Reid have to take a pay cut just recently? But that's okay, because apparently AG Letitia James is leading the Trump Resistance 2.0. AG Letitia James leads a 22-state effort to block Trump's federal funding freeze in New York and beyond. New York Attorney General Letitia James has led a successful charge alongside a coalition of 22 other state attorneys to block Trump administration policy that would put a freeze on essential federal funding. U.S. District Court in Rhode Island has granted their request for a temporary restraining order, effectively stopping the policy that was already causing widespread disruption. Of course that's going to happen.
Exactly. That's why you sweating now. Because they coming for that ass. He got that TV so loud. Get up, stop it. What is this?
Before the virus meets us.
Oh no, we going that's something. What is this?
Did Sorgen see your penis at all? No.
Oh shit.
Everybody needs to be aware of what's coming, what their whole plan is. You've heard me talk about this for years, about the 15-minute cities.
Oh shit. I gotta make sure because that's coming up next. Oh, I don't see this one, so let me turn that off. Oh, here we go.
Letitia James may just be one of the craziest AGs, most irresponsible AGs to have ever lived in the United States of America. Welcome to the program, everyone. I am Trish Regan, and wow, Tish James really going off the rails. We're going to show you her latest meltdown. It all comes as a federal judge, an Obama-appointed judge, by the way, is saying, you guys go for it. Elon, Donald Trump, you got access to everything. So you can imagine how they are flipping out as all of this news is coming to us on President's Day. Happy President's Day. Welcome to the program. Make sure you like, share, hit the bell so that you know when I'm here. I got a lot to talk to you about today. This CBS host, Margaret Brennan, just getting absolutely torched by one Marco Rubio because clearly the woman needs to study her history, making some really bizarrely inaccurate comments. We're going to get to all of that as the left tries to cancel seriously President's Day because, well, they don't like President's Day because there are some presidents that they just don't like. Wow. I mean, unbelievable. It's all coming as Elon Musk increasingly is under fire. And now, guess what he has to deal with? You're not going to believe it. He has to deal with another baby mama. Yeah, coming out of the woodwork. Actually, St. Clair, mega influencer.
Yeah, we're not trying to talk about him.
Years ago, so I'm literally reading my own words. I said, is that Congress has attempted to justify almost every law imaginable by simply saying it has direct or indirect effect on, seizing his assets. That was her goal because she wanted him to pay $500 million, nearly $500 million. And he doesn't have it hanging around. Well, we're going to go take over Trump Tower. And there was this whole thing about why doesn't he have it hanging around? Like anybody just, puts it under their mattress. I'm sorry, that's not how it works. I mean, mind blowing. I have been especially disgusted by this entire ordeal.
Me too. Me too.
It offends my sensibility of sort of belief in our capitalist meritocracy that has made us the country we are. Because when you have people like Letitia James going out there trying to go after someone just because of who they are politically and coming up with these grand excuses to attack them for the success that they have had financially, that really tells you got a problem, right? I mean, you look at all of these companies moving out of New York City left and right, not just because of taxes, but because of the threat of the political environment. And so this is what keeps coming up. If you would, in the Court of Appeals, as they examine what Letitia had going down, I mean, I think about Judith Vale, who's arguing on behalf of Letitia, because that's how it works at the appellate court. You got to get someone a little bit smarter, a little less political to try and argue this thing. And the judges are like, listen, this sounds like a private case. Why
and it is
an attorney general bringing this forward, wasting taxpayer dollars? It's not like she was out there actually doing good things for the New York community. No, she was bogged down in this crapola.
Was using.
Sorry, but what's being described sounds an awful lot like a potential commercial dispute between private actors.
Well, to go back to the first question about whether there's other examples of this, there are other examples of this. In the first American case, the Attorney General brought a 6312 case where the transaction at issue was between a very big bank, Wells Fargo, and a professional appraisal firm.
But wasn't the concern there that the public would ultimately be negatively impacted, affected by what those corporate actors were doing?
And that concern is here as well, because when you have hidden risks getting injected into the market, that hurts the market and honest participants in the market. And the legislature also decided, contrary to what defendants think, that making sure that business in New York stays honest is the way to attract and keep business.
To that point, the executive law 6312, I just want to read a section of it.
Okay. So she was trying to insert herself in the middle of a private transaction in which no one lost any money.
Facts.
She was doing this, saying that somehow his Mar-a-Lago was worth only $18 million, despite the fact that it was making like $57 million a year. I mean, hey, Letitia, honey, I'd take that trade all day long. I'd go and buy Mar-a-Lago if it was $19 million. I'd buy it for $25 right now, okay? We'll figure.
Oh, shit.
Letitia James, everyone. You know the drill. You know who she absolutely despises and hates. That would be one Donald Trump that she tried to bankrupt and then, throw Elon in on the mix. And you get the recipe of some people that might just drive this woman positively insane more than she already is.
No one elected Elon Musk and his minions, and no one has allowed him to have access to this information. This is a violation of the separation of powers. The United States Congress, the United States Senate, has the sole discretion having the power of the purse, and not Elon Musk. We are here today to seek a preliminary injunction to stand up against those forces who believe that they can unilaterally have power and have control, all in the hands of the President of these United States.
Yeah, that didn't go so well. Letitia, it really didn't go so well. So that is something we have to get to. But before, I mean, you gotta understand the full scope of crazy here, okay? Sorry, but you need to know what Donald Trump, Elon Musk, what we as taxpayers are up against.
Payments to the state of New York and to states all across this nation. It is unacceptable, unconstitutional, ultra-biased. They've exceeded their authority. And so it's important that attorneys general representing our respective states stand up and enforce the rule of law, because Elon Musk, individuals at the Treasury, and the President of these United States is not above the law. And we will continue. As attorneys general, we've been preparing for this.
And you thought you was above the law. You thought but they coming for that ass. They coming, Letitia. And it's actually Letitia. I think we got the last video for the night, and I'm about to go to bed. He got that TV so damn loud, y'all. Oh, we supposed to be getting some stimulus money, I think in September. I think about $2,000. I don't know what happened to it, because supposed had been 5. I'm trying to find this last video. Let's see, what is this? Oh, excuse me. Okay, I think this is the last one right here.
As attorneys general, we're not going to bow to the president or to Elon Musk. It's important that individuals understand that right now Elon Musk is untethered to any accountability at all.
Judge, we don't care about your training. It's not your job to execute the laws. That's the executive branch's job, to execute the laws. Why don't you do it my way? Because your way sucks. Your way has been how it's been going for this entire time. We're doing it our way. We got elected. Letitia James and other blue states very upset with President Trump for cutting off their money. And they were in New York today for a hearing in front of Judge Vargas, a blue appointed judge, screaming about this injustice that is occurring to them and their states now that their funding has been cut off. Tish James was
out there. Here's a little bit about what she sounded like, and then we'll jump over into the X script, courtesy of Inner City Press, who will detail for us what happened there with Judge Jeanette Vargas. But here's what it sounded like outside the court building. This, of course, is Tish James, the biggest Tish in all of New York, AG, Attorney General for the entire state, upset about what's happening there.
And as attorneys general, we're not going to bow to the president or to Elon Musk.
Let me go
it's
past
important
that.
that individuals understand that.
It's incredible. Why do they have to investigate the investigators of the fraud and the grift? But it is happening, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Treasury Watchdog is going to be getting on it. That whole process will start. They'll investigate, send letters, send subpoenas. Elon and the Doge team will respond. Then they'll write a report, and the report will go over to Congress, and the congressional Democrats will have a hissy fit and cry from the ceilings again, and then they'll call for impeachment. Okay, this is how this is going to work. So that is happening. Now, we're there, and Judge says, well, what else? Says the states have had their bank accounts closed and accessed. And Mr. Krause's delegation, and we saw that, New York got $80 million rescinded because it's not their money. Their money is in Ukraine, thanks to Joe Biden. Thank him for that. The states have had their bank accounts accessed, and Mr. Krause.
The money, the $80 million was rescinded because it was for the illegals. That's why it was rescinded. They ain't getting nothing out of this administration. I'm about to do one more so I can get that out the way. Let me see. I'm gonna do one more. I don't know how he can hear, because he sure interrupted me. Here we go. This is the, yep, this is the last one. This is it.
And we are back, and we are back.
This is
Y'all
peer legal. I like him.
Y'all know it helps us out so much. Why do I have this emotion in my voice, y'all? Because first of all, take a look at this tweet. This is from a video that we made about 2 weeks ago at this point.
Let me go past this.
Donald Trump allies, they are first. New investigation alert. We've uncovered a decade-long pattern of financial misreporting by New York Attorney General Letitia James. Despite her $355 million judgment against Trump for misleading financial statements, our findings reveal troubling transparency issues in her own disclosures. And then there is a link to an article. Here are some key points. I'm going to read these key points, and I'm also going to link to all this in the description so you can take a look at it on your own. Here are the key points. Repeat offender. According to this tweet, over the past decade, James has repeatedly failed to disclose critical financial information, including hidden mortgages and rental income. Hidden mortgages. James, according to this tweet, failed to disclose $109,600, a mortgage for that amount on her Norfolk VA property, despite legal requirements. Inconsistent reporting. Her 2023 disclosure lists 2 new mortgages on Virginia property totaling up to $400,000 with no public records to support them. Rental income disparities. Initially reported rental income from the Norfolk property has vanished, raising questions about unreported income. Brooklyn property issues. Similar issues were found with her Brooklyn property, where she failed to disclose rental income for years. Undisclosed rental income. Cranes revealed James failed to disclose rental income from her Brooklyn brownstone, despite collecting, quote, tens of thousands of dollars every year from tenants. Over-leveraged financing. The Norfolk property is over-leveraged with mortgages totaling up to $509,600 against a property value at most $187,300. And then double standards. James's actions suggest one standard for others and a different one for herself,
Facts.
undermining public trust.
Facts.
Okay? Now, y'all, and then there is this graphic here that you can see as it relates to the reported value versus the mortgages on the Virginia property. So this tweet also links out to an article which I will post in the description of this video. What I want to do, y'all, I want to play something so that I can just provide context for this whole thing. Let's take a look at
Anyone to subvert the law. And lastly,
like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Have a good night. I'm going to bed, y'all, and I appreciate my new subscribers. And I think I'm gonna come back tomorrow, do DMX, because his ex-wife is trying to get control of his